Hello and welcome to the Common Sense SEO show number 19, where today we are going to be talking about site speed. So before we dive into this topic, and we've got some great little tips and tricks along the way, I'll pass you over to Henrik to say hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody out there. We just need to check whether you can hear us loud and clear, and whether you can see me at the moment and Tony in a small picture down there. So I can see Patrick is there. Yeah, Terry's there. Adrian, yeah. Everybody is okay, Tony. So let's get the ball rolling.
Let's get the ball rolling. Okay. Today I have a new headset. Yippee! Another one to add to my collection of about 30 down the side of my chair, which you also might notice that I'm not sat at today. I've invaded the privacy of one of my son's bedrooms just so that I can get away from the kids, because it is school holidays today. So forgive me if they come barging through the door at any minute looking for Dad, but hopefully I should get through 30 minutes without too much interruption. So again, yes, I hope you can hear me clear. I hope this is coming through a lot better than the last load of headsets, and let's get on with the show. Last week we had Terry as a guest, and I think I just heard that Terry's even there in the background somewhere. So we had Terry, and one of the discussions that we said was about speed and CTR and so on and so forth, and there was a bit of a discussion that we had where there'd been a conversation going on in one of the groups where people were getting very, very just sort of intense about site speed, about how much it really mattered. And of course, Terry sort of wisely suggested that actually, as long as it's good, good enough is good enough, which I also believe in. But it still centers on a little bit of a researching path this week to try and find out, is there a simple way of getting your WordPress running at an optimal speed? Is it really sort of something that we need degrees in and everything else to figure out? Surely there must be a way of getting good site speeds out of WordPress, out of the box, without too much technical know-how. So that's what we've been diving into over the last week, and that's what we're going to cover throughout the show today. So hopefully you'll stick around and learn a few things and join in with the conversations, and hopefully we'll bring you just some of the home truths that we've discovered this year. So with that in mind, let's get going. I don't know whether Henrik has got a website to show you just there at the moment. He might have, which is a website we set up purely for this test. And if anybody's out there and decides to trash it, it doesn't matter. It's a $1 domain. If it goes, it goes. But we'd like you to treat it nicely, because it is there to support this webinar. We might do this a bit more often if it proves worthwhile. So anyway, the site is, what is it? speedupwordpress.site. So that's the domain name. And on there, we loaded a very basic installation of WordPress. We then, with just absolutely out of the box, we did some metric tests, and I'll just talk about those in a moment. And then we gradually built it up, although it's nothing flash at the moment, there's nothing amazing going on the site. We really wanted to sort of try and put some benchmarks down to see how different things affected the speed. Okay, so I hope everybody's with me so far. Let me just think. So let's start with metrics. If you look on that site, I think on the homepage, actually, there is a list of different speed tools, if anybody doesn't really know, but I'm sure everybody knows which ones to use. Now, if you go and use all 5 of those and press the button to test your site, the chances are you will get different results with every different speed test site. And really, yes, you probably will, but really that doesn't matter, because what we're worried about is not the accuracy of the information necessarily, although that is quite nice sometimes if it tells you what you want it to tell you. But what we want to do is use it as a benchmark. So if a WordPress is loading at 3 seconds out of the box, and then we put content on and we put a couple of big images on, and it jumps to 5 seconds, then what do we need to do to get that back down to the 3 seconds or below down to 2 seconds and even below 1 second? So that's what we're doing. So in this test, we did use GTmetrix, GTmetrix.com, GTmetrix. So we use them for no other reason other than it's simple, it's just there, it's easy to use. You go there, you drop your URL and you press go, you get your report. You can run concurrent reports and line up all the numbers side by side. You can download a report to review afterwards. You can watch the page load it as a waterfall on video to see how things are all coming together. So it just made sense. So, yes, I put my hand up and say I know GTmetrix isn't the best one out there, but it just suited my purpose and our purpose for this test. And also, one other thing I will say about metrics is there is the ardent sort of the hardcore SEOs will say that you need to be testing at mobile speed and you need to be testing at 3G and things like that. Which, again, yes, I agree with. But at this precise stage of the test, we are using it as benchmarking only. I'm not going to get too hyper sort of concerned about what the actual numbers are. Although, having said that, they are quite nice. So, Henrik, have we got the site there up on the screen?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody can see that. And again, look. We put this together yesterday from last night. Really, it was just an idea to help us with this tour. It's not going to be visually stunning or anything like that because look, I did it. So I mean, I'm as you all know, I'm totally blind. So the fact that I can get a WordPress site together, don't expect miracles with the visuals because you're not going to get them from me. Well, it's going to be a boring site, but if you look at it, we've got a fairly long post there with page links and things like that going on. We've got an image at the top, which is a graphic, like a logo header type logo there, and then there is also, if you just go down a bit further down to the bottom, you'll see that there's a massive image we dropped in there just to see if we could really shaft our page load times. So this is what we did, and there's also a few other inner pages which have got some of the GTmetrix reports showing up on what we did around there. Now, I think, well, I don't know, Henrik. I mean, do you want to say anything else at this point? Because I'm sort of thinking that we're moving towards the how we start putting the site together. So, is there anything that you want to comment?
The only thing is that the picture down here at the bottom is it hasn't been optimized. It was 1 megabyte when we loaded it, and then the plugin did some magic to it. So that's basically what we did. Maybe I should just show them one of the reports that we did. I think this is one of the later ones. Sorry, just have to go back here. Did I remove the previous post? Yes. Speed after the installation. That's the one we want.
Okay.
Okay. This is the first report that we actually made.
So, do you want to pick up on that? I mean, just the fact. I mean, if you're seeing those numbers yet, I don't know. If you are seeing those numbers, just look at those. I mean, and this is what really blew the lid off. I mean, I think we know all this anyway, but there's certain people that might not. I mean, speed is one of those topics that people sort of get a bit wound up about, and still not everybody's all that clear about. Apologies if you understand it fully, but we're going to go down this rabbit hole anyway. Look at those numbers. If you could see them there, I mean, we've got load speeds of like 0.6s, is it seconds, is it, or something like that, or 0.9? It was.
No, it's 0.6 seconds. Just need to ask everybody out there. Can you see the screen now? Because somebody said there wasn't focus on my screen. So just wait a second, Tony, so we can make sure that everybody can see it. There's a little bit of lag. So just give us, okay, we got a yes.
Okay, probably because I brought it in and stole the screen away from the report, I guess. Anyway, look at those numbers. I mean, and then I just thought, oh my God, what are we going to talk about for half an hour? We've just installed WordPress. Yes, okay, that was a brand new empty site, and look at those numbers. You've got a page, the top metric there, 98 or 99%. This is just working from my memory. 98, 99%, wasn't it? You then go down to the Y slow score, which was that 91, was it, or something like that, or 90, 91. Yeah, you go down to the page load speed and it's 0.6 seconds. And okay, there we go. It's a bit of a downer when you see that it's only 35K. So, hey, what the heck? But I mean, just getting less than 1 second straight out of the gate, that is satisfying. Now, how do you do that? Well, of course, it's down to the hosting. And this is the thing. And I know we've been on about hosting quite a few times, but I've searched around for a long, long time. And I'm sure everybody's got their own favorite hosts and everything, but I really have searched around and I've made it a bit of a, well, I don't know, whatever. I've searched anyway. And I mean, I have various different hosting that we use for CommonSenSEO. We have a UK-based reseller hosting package, which is just cheap and cheerful, lets us do what for as many domains in there as we want, uses as much, just unlimited everything, and it's like about, I don't know, $40 a month. So that's excellent value. Use DigitalOcean, which is good. Clouds, obviously everybody knows Global was using that in collaboration with Server Pilot. So it started getting expensive. I don't like putting, you're just having to really go for 2 GB of RAM. You want and it was costing like $10 for a droplet, and then it was costing another $5 to put it onto Server Pilot. So $15 for a droplet, and then okay, if you put one site in there, that's quite expensive, $15 a month just for one site. If you then you think, well, okay, I'll put 5 sites in there of different types, just to get better value out of that droplet. And the trouble is then you're sharing all the resources between those 5 sites if they're all getting sort of visitors at the same source of time and everything. So again, you're diluting the benefit, what you're paying extra for anyway. And this is one of the problems I found with DigitalOcean. You sort of have this set fee up front, like $10 a droplet or whatever, depending on which configuration you choose. But you might be only using $2 worth. And the way we operate our business, we like to, well, I do anyway, it's one of my things. We like to have our money sites, our primary sites working as fast as possible with as much resources as possible and not sharing that space. I mean, I think I've only ever had 2 sites taken out by hacking, two attempts, well, 2 times, twice, that's the word, twice. And one time they went in, and because they got into a droplet, they then took out all the sites in that droplet or in that package or whatever, whichever terminology you want to use, right? So another reason why I like to keep everything in its own little environment, because if one site gets hacked, you don't automatically lose all the others. So there's a good argument for keeping them like this. So I kept looking, and all the time people are mentioning these different hosting packages. And the one that, sorry, I'm keep leaning forward because I keep getting interrupted by voice. The one site that we did come across, which was mentioned actually I think it was in the Cora group originally, somebody just dropped it in there. I think it was in there, somebody mentioned it. And it was at close.com, CLOSTE.com. And that's what this is hosted on, okay? And honestly, the speed of this host is just phenomenal. It's because it's based on Google servers. You've got Google DNS, and you've got Google CDN, and it comes fully configured. It's WordPress only. It becomes fully configured for speed out the gate. So, it's just, and this proves it. I mean, this speed here, I mean, okay, we're going to put pictures on and things like that. We're going to slow it down. But, it just proves that with the right hosting. I mean, Henrik, have you got those numbers I just sent you earlier on? As a comparison, another site that I loaded straight out of the box on the reseller hosting. I don't know whether you've got them. I think it was just in Skype. I mean, just off the top of my head, it was something like a 5-second load time. It was something like a Y-slow score of 72 or something, and a page speed score of 76 or something. And that's reseller hosting for you. Did you have them, Henrik?
I'll try to find it.
It's okay. I mean, it was roughly, those were roughly what the figures were, again, off the top of my head. So you see, this really proved beyond shadow of a doubt that the hosting is the important thing. And obviously, you could start getting into time to first paint and time to first byte and time to interaction and all those different sort of terminology. But it doesn't really matter, does it? If you can get that site loading at these sorts of speed just from picking the right hosting, then that's, you're definitely building on a solid basis. Okay, I hope everybody agrees with me. If you don't,
I'm showing the figures now, and it is 75% score, the use low score, 79, and 5% load time.
Yeah.
So
and yeah, exactly. And honestly, that site there, we haven't said where it is or who it is because it's a live site. But that site there, I set it up the same time a couple of days ago. It's pretty much the same sort of content, the same sort of makeup as what's on this site. It's pretty much a parallel site. And the difference in the hosting is just astonishing. If you're starting with 5 seconds, you've got a lot of work to do to get that down below 2 or wherever you feel comfortable getting it down below. If you're starting already at 1 second or below, suddenly your life gets a lot easier. So anyway, is there any comments on that at the moment?
No, not. Somebody asked what was the website URL which we have given. Cherry has asked what the hosting that we are using, and that's Cluster. And that's actually it for the moment.
Yeah, and that's it. And I just want to put in a spot here. This honestly, today is an absolute affiliate-free zone. There is we're not affiliates for any of these. We're putting these into the show because we use them and we believe in them. Now, if you go and talk to the hosting guys, they will tell you that Google hosting is 300% more expensive than DigitalOcean. And they accept that. But you see the difference with this hosting, this Cluster or whatever they're called, the difference with them is that they actually charge you for what you use. Now, I've got 9 money sites on our account at this moment. We're 3 days away from the end of the month, and my total bill has been around $35. Okay, if I'd have had 5 sites on DigitalOcean, that would have cost me $50 because each one of those droplets would have been $10 because that's the package I chose, and then you'd have been looking at another $25 over on Server Pilot. So straight away, I'm up to $75 for exactly the same thing. Well, no, it's not, because Google is better. So okay, it's 300% more expensive, but you're literally paying for what you use from the get-go. If you use one cent Swift, that's what you pay. A bit like with S3, you pay for what you use. There's no set fees whatsoever. So, and it's a bit of a different interface. It's not cPanel. They've got their own interface, but to be honest, it takes very little time to set up. Once you're used to it, it doesn't take long to work your way through it and get these sites up and running. So, I just think, hand on heart, that this is where my money sites will be going. Like I say, you've got the Google DNS, you've got Google CDN. It's automatically configured to put in all your files all around the Google network. So no matter where your customers are coming from, your visitors are coming from, they're going to get that page delivered at these rapid speeds. So to me, it makes sense. Try it out for yourself. Find out for yourself. But like I say, if you can get that load time down to below 1 second before you do anything, we're already on the front foot. So, Henrik, should we move on to the plugins?
We can do that, but maybe we should tell what we did from the first post to where we came up to this load time, which is 1.2 seconds for the site. So what we did was we put in a few pictures. The pictures that you see, I'll show that. Sorry, I did. Let me. Where's my site? I'm trying to find the page.
The homepage.
Now.
It's just the homepage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got 100 web pages open.
I have, unfortunately, so I'll just load it again. Just a second.
Go on,
I'm done now. So what we did was we loaded this one into the mix. We loaded another picture here into the mix. And then we loaded the last picture, which was the heavy one down there, which was 1 megabyte. And that was let's say, the increased load for this website.
Yeah, and for anybody that's astute and seeing those figures, if you're seeing them yet, you'll notice that, well, you tell me, Henrik, what is the page size on that report? Oh, no, you're not seeing the report, are you? You're showing them the homepage.
But the paid loads was for the first one, I think it was.
The first one was about 35,000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then sorry if that's what you're on about, the kilobytes, and then the second one
was up around 1 megabyte, right? And then we reduced it again.
Yeah, but what we actually found out was because we already had a plugin for image optimization, which is Short Pixel, and there's a reason why we use that. When we put the image up there, didn't we? This 1 megabyte image, and we thought, well, okay, now we're going to kill it, aren't we? We're definitely going to test it now. And when we was doing this metrics test, we're going, hang on a minute, it's still only 135k on the page load. What's going on? Where's this picture gone? It's not showing on the GT metrics, and we're flushing the cache and doing all sorts of things. And then we suddenly realized that actually Short Pixel, which was a plugin we'd put there, a free plugin, it had actually done its job, hadn't it, and whisked it away off into cyberspace and was serving it up very optimally. So then we had to turn off Short Pixel to try and get the metrics that showed us it loading the full 1 meg page. And which report have you got a report up there now?
Yeah, no. What I did is I made let's say a Google speed test to compare it, and we got on a desktop 99 and 100 in terms of page speed, and on the mobile one we got 99 and we got 96. So the first one with the heavy lifting was 96 on the mobile, and then we used the plug-in, and we came up to a desktop of 100 and a mobile of 99.
I mean, isn't this mind-blowing? And people think that page speed, well, I'm not saying everybody does, but a lot of people think that page speed is this technical mystery. And look at that. I mean, this is just basic stuff that we put out there, and we're starting with the best hosting. So let's rethink this problem, shall we? And let's sort of throw away any of these old beliefs and just start thinking a bit smarter about landlord. Just choose the right host. I'm not saying that this hosting is right for everything. You wouldn't want to be putting, your support sites and everything else on there, because you don't want to be paying. It is more expensive than the reseller hosting. Yeah, because I pay the same, and I've got probably 60, 70, 80 sites on there. So obviously, if I put all of those sites onto this close to hosting, it cost me an arm and a leg. So okay, so I hope you sort of getting the point there. But the other thing that was a real sort of conundrum as well was we threw this 1 meg image and thought this is going to really shaft it now. And what was the worst page speed we ever got today, Henrik?
That was Jesus, I can't remember now. Was
I
it?
think it was definitely under 2 seconds, wasn't it? I think we saw one of 1.3 and one of 1.6.
1.6 was it?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? 1.6 was the worst we got today. So there you go. That's the hosting. So we've been banging on, but okay, there's not a lot of JavaScript script going on there. There's not a lot of CSS and all those things. So there's not a lot of that that's going to slow stuff down. It's not going off necessarily and finding things elsewhere. It's not referring external referrals, so on and so forth. There is the image, which is ShortPixel is managing that very well indeed. But again, I accept that if this was a live site, that you might have opt-in forms, you might have various different things going on, and then you're going to start getting into the areas of minification and so on and so forth. So we want to now draw back the curtain a little bit further. Now we've just shown you this, which we think is an amazing start anyway. But we're going to draw back the curtain and show you inside the back office of this WordPress site, and just show you some of the plugins that we're actually using here. So, Henry, can you actually log in there?
We have had the screen up for quite a while now. So,
okay.
We're in, so you go ahead.
Does it not work? Or
Yeah, it works.
Okay. Yeah, just probably, yeah. Yeah. But look, like I say, when you first load this, you're going to get the hosting do put the DNS management tools there, and they put the CDN management tools there, and you really don't have to touch them. They work out the box. You get, when you're setting them up, you get various different options. And I will talk you through these things anyway, just in case. And if Henry can support it with some visuals, that's good. And if not, you'll just have to look at me. And so what it does is it gives you a choice when you're setting up a new website. It gives you a choice of 4 speed tools. I think there's WP Rocket, there's Super Cache, I can't remember the other one. There's another one that's really, really popular as well, which I can't remember. And then there's this Lightspeed plugin. Yeah, and what it says is, I think all this stuff is mentioned on that homepage anyway. If you want to go back and refer to that, it does tell you all these things. So just in case I get anything wrong, because I'm just working from my memory, but it's all written on that homepage on whatever it's called, speedup.wordpress.site. Okay. Now, yeah. So and then the Lightspeed. What they do tell you in brackets underneath is, if you want to use the CDN, you should choose the Lightspeed optimizing plugin. During the setup. So okay, I'm fine with that, to be honest. I don't care. I want to use the Google CDN, of course I do. So I go with that. So that's one thing you got to do. Then this is what then takes us down a certain route of what plugins we use. Because we're using that, they then say if you want to optimize further, you can use Auto-Optimize. So we go and get that. Everybody knows Auto-Optimize, I'm sure. We go and get that. We go and set that up. But the trouble is once you use Auto-Optimize, you then have to also go into the CDN settings and copy your CDN into the Auto-Optimize. You've got to set that route, but it literally, it's a couple of clicks. It's not difficult. Then, what else from there? When you're using Auto-Optimize, it then points you in the direction of 2 other plugins. One of them is ShortPixel, which again is free if I think is it 100 pixels, 100 images a month. If you're just using a normal small business site, 100 images is fine. That's enough for everybody. That'll be fine. A free package will keep you happy. You don't need to pay. Even if you do need to pay, it's negligible. I think it's like, I don't know, $10 for 5,000 images or something like that. I don't know. You can buy different packages anyway, but it's free. For most people, it's free. So that works fully with the Auto-Optimize. It's all integrated, and as you can tell, it's working fine. I mean, we didn't even realize at first it was turned on. We put this massive picture up there, and bang, it was automatically optimized and serving up, and we lost like milliseconds. Okay, the other one is Critical CSS. Now, I wanted to get the guy on to talk about this Critical CSS, but he only just got back off holiday a few hours ago, and he's not had time to sort of prepare for the webinar, so we might get him on another day. But Critical CSS also integrates with Auto-Optimize, and this is amazing plugin actually, because what it does is it actually monitors your pages, and it monitors the loading of the CSS and the JavaScript, and it not just minifies them, but it actually goes in and looks to see which ones have been called by which pages. So if you've got this long file, CSS file with 100 different declarations in it, but your home page is only using 5 of those, what it'll do is it'll pull those 5 specifications out of the CSS and load them as part of, inline, as part of the page load. I mean, I think most people should understand the concept of minification and putting JavaScript and CSS inline. I hope so anyway. If not, just drop it in the chat and we can probably talk about that later. But that's the idea, you see. So it only pulls forward the actual CSS and JavaScript that you need to load that page. Then but then once it's done it carries on monitoring it, and wherever change is needed, if anything changes on that page, it will automatically update all the inline JavaScript and CSS. It's just really, really powerful. Now there is a price for this, but again, I'm not an affiliate for it. Well, yeah, it's not worth it, to be quite honest, because it costs you something like $5 for each site. So again, that's up to you. You can use it, you don't have to. But if you just want to shave that last couple of milliseconds off, that's a really good way of doing it, because it's a really neat tool and very, very simple to use as well. I mean, I saw it out in a few hours, not long. Not even that. It is very, very simple to use. You go over to the site, you create an account, you go back, you drop your API or your username in, click a button, and away it goes. Go back a day later, and you'll see it's already started working. It's already started optimizing your code. It's an amazing plugin. That's Critical CSS. Then going on from there, if I should, sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking here, Henrik.
That's okay. I keep quiet.
Yeah. Then going on from there, right? Okay, so we've got the Critical CSS. Well, what's the other one that we haven't mentioned yet? There is one more in there. Oh, now this one was a beauty. When I was in the Auto-Optimize, it came up. I spoke to the guy. No, it wasn't. It was Critical CSS. When I was working on the Critical CSS, I was talking to the guy, obviously because I was quite impressed and I wanted to get him on the show and stuff. So we've been having a bit of to and fro. And he sort of said that he referred me over to this Frank Goosen, I think his name is, or whatever. Sorry if I got his name wrong. But he's got a plugin called async.js, async JavaScript. Now, I've seen his name around the industry for long enough, probably because I spend too much time in the WordPress plugin repository, maybe. But anyway, I've seen his name around too much for a long time. So I was quite impressed when I got an email from this guy, and he told me about, well, why don't you download this plugin? I didn't realize it was his, but why don't you download this plugin? And he gave me the instructions on what to do. And again, it was a couple of lines. So we downloaded this, and I'd always seen it before, this async.js. I thought, what is that? I don't know what it is. I didn't know. It was too frightening. It was too scary a title. It was, I don't know what async. I don't want to do that. I don't know. And it wasn't clear what it actually did. But he sort of just said, just try this. So I did. We downloaded it and we loaded it on the site. And I don't know, are you able to show that, Henrik? Or not?
We can go into the settings. Is that what you want?
Oh, yeah, if you can do it, because I mean, I'd like them to see this if possible. And if not, it'll give everybody's ears a rest from me. and if it, all good demos sort of fall over usually, don't they? So if it doesn't work, then I'll just fill in the gaps.
The wizard gives you an opportunity to go in and put in a key, which I will find here. That's the one here, yeah. So I just nicked the key here, so I'll put that in. I'll put in a username. I process to step number 2, and it says wait a little bit. tells me to wait. So what it does, it's trying to set up. Communicating with the API for GT metrics. But maybe because I haven't confirmed the email, it might it might take a little bit longer. It definitely takes more than the 2 seconds to load the page. Now, maybe you should verbally go through and then we can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because I'm also realised that we're a few minutes over as well. But I just wanted. This is the last part, so don't worry. But this is really good. This is. So what you do is once you've got your GT metrics API key. Again, this is another reason why we use GT metrics. Because it keeps everything concurrent, keeps everything all singing along in harmony. Don't worry. It doesn't cost you to get an API. You just drop your email address in there, and you can use 100. You get 100 credits a day on GT metrics. So you drop this in, you run, and then you click the button that says wizard, and it uses 5 credits. So you can only do this 20 times, but you only need to do it once anyway. But the thing is you can use that same API on lots of different sites if you're doing lots of different sites. Yeah. So what it does is you run the wizard, and what this async Java does is it goes in and it actually looks at your site and it actually tests it. It emulates the configuration for various different scenarios. So it's taken the 5 best scenarios, like deferred JS, to the footer, that sort of thing, or lazy load images, or inline CSS as opposed to pulling the CSS directly in, and all those sorts of things. It's got 5 different preset configurations with 5 different versions of what it feels is optimal for most different types of sites. Right? And what it does is it runs through each one in turn, emulating these setups, goes over to GT metrics, pulls a speed report, goes and reconfigures for the new settings, goes over to GT metrics, does this 5 times, and then you can see them all lined up, and then it goes, hey, look at this. The 3rd one was the best because you're saving your site speed now. It's now down to 0.6 seconds or something again, or back down to 0.6 seconds. And you click OK, or you don't. You go and look at it. You go and click a button to go and look to make sure that your site's not broken. And if you're happy with what you see, you click Go for it. And it sets the site configuration permanently to what it found was the most optimal use of your resources for your site type. E-commerce, whatever, blog, so on and so forth. So do you see, this is just amazing. So not only have we got blistering speed, you've now got a plugin that takes away all the technical, apart from having a technical name, there's nothing else technical about it. You put your API key in, you click go, it says, here we go, we found this one for you, click accept and have a good life. And that's it. So, and honestly, this is just really good. Sorry, was you going to say something then, Henrik?
No.
So there you go. Has anybody got any questions? So that's the thing. Again, go to the homepage of this speed up WordPress site, and you will see all these things that I've talked about today, all listed there, just so you can refresh your memory. I think it mentions the async Java. If not, just hit us up in the chat and we'll flash that out for you. But that really takes away most of the worries, right? Don't forget, we've still got, what have we still got? We've still got the benefits to come from critical CSS optimizing as it goes along. So your site is going to get better and better the more it learns about it. So how simple is speed now? Get the right hosting, get the right configuration, which is done by async Java, get the short pixels worked out. We threw the worst image going, the wrong size, the massive everything, and it didn't even blink an eye, did it? Hardly. It was minimal impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then run this async Java, get your critical CSS running nicely, and then there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting load page speeds of less than 1 second, or absolutely less. And those other scores, you know, the user experience scores of nearly 100%, even over on the mobile. So when people start saying, oh yeah, but you're looking at desktop, you're not looking at mobile. We did look at mobile, and they were still loading at these ridiculously insane speeds. So there you go. That's me almost worded out. I hope we've covered most things. And Henrik, is there any questions?
Yeah, Dwayne says, now that's cool re-async plugin. So
yeah, it's all sticking out around till the end. We always have the killer nugget at the end.
any questions out there? Doesn't seem so.
Well, there we go. I've gone over by 11 minutes, probably 12 by the time we've finished. If there's anything more about this you want to know, drop us a line, drop us in the Skype chat, in the chat here, whatever. We will answer you. If not immediately, we'll answer you definitely. Well, as soon as we notice that it's there, we always try. If anybody wants us to dig more deeply, I mean, I'm still going to get the critical CSS guy on here to show that in a bit better of a way, because we've glanced through it, even though I've waffled a hell of a lot. We've still glanced through it without really explaining the nuts and bolts. But honestly, it's not rocket. Well, it is rocket science, but your interaction is not. The bit that we have to do is as simple as it really is. So let's not worry about. Oh, and the one thing I should say about quantifying site speed, yes, it is important, but it is one of many metrics. So get it as good as you can by using this sort of strategy, then put it to one side and start worrying about the other things like on page, off page, backlink, blah, blah, blah. That to me is the way forward. And thank you very much for listening to me waffling on so much, Henrik.
Yes, thank you, Tony. Guys, if you like the show, then give us a small thumbs up on the video, and remember to subscribe to our channel so you get notified about whatever we can come up with. So thank you very much for joining us today, and see you on the next show.